Hello guys, welcome to my exbrowser tutorial. Today I have a very interesting tutorial for you. For those of you who have been doing web automation via exbrowser. So in this tutorial I'm going to first of all detail what issues overlays can cause, and I'm going to propose a very simple solution to the problems caused by these web page overlays. So right now I'm in a YouTube video page, and let us say I want to send a mouse click to this drop down called sort by. Alright, so the way exbrowser works is that in order for me to send an automation command like a mouse click to a web page element, exbrowser requires that that element must be present in the visible area of my browser window, one, and not only that, that element must not be covered by any lightbox or by any other web page element. If that happens, then as far as exbrowser is concerned, it cannot see that element, so it will not process the operation successfully. Alright, so another thing I want you to understand, which can be a bit confusing, is that the way a click command is processed by exbrowser on a page element depends on a couple of things. First of all, now for example, I'm here right now on the top part of this YouTube page, and now if I were to send an exbrowser click command to this web page element, this drop down, the way exbrowser sees it, it first checks to see if that element is visible on the page or not. Right now that element, web page element, is not visible in the browser window, and also its position in relation to the HTML elements which are visible in the browser window is also very important. Right now, when I'm positioned in the top part of the web page, the position of this drop down button is such that it is placed below the elements which are visible in the browser window. So in such a situation, if I were to send an exbrowser click to that element, exbrowser will scroll that element to the very bottom edge of the screen of the browser window, and then it will process the operation on that element. On the other hand, if I was positioned here, and if this web page element is positioned here, now currently the position of that web page element is such that it is again not visible in the browser window, but its position in relation to the HTML elements which are visible on the screen is such that it is above it physically. So in such a situation, if I were to send an exbrowser click to that element, exbrowser would behave differently. It would now scroll the browser window up in such a way that it would bring this element to the very top edge of the browser window, unlike before. So depending on the fact where that web page element which I want to process or send a click to is placed in relation to the elements visible on the screen, exbrowser's behavior differs. Now let us see in the first case right now where I'm on position on the top of the screen and the element is below it. Now if I were to send an exbrowser click, you will see that exbrowser brought the element to the very bottom edge of the browser window, and then it clicked on the element. So that's why we have this menu showing up. Now again, if I were to position this web page element above the fold, above the visible elements in the browser window. And now if I were to run the exbrowser click command on that element, you will see that it appears as if nothing has happened, but actually that element is right here at the very top edge of the browser window. If I could remove this overlay from here on the top, you would see that that element is sitting right there at the top. In fact, let me remove this element for you right now and show it to you. I can do that by clicking on the inspect option here, and then yeah, so this is that overlay element. I'm going to hide it, hide element, and then I'm going to close Chrome Developer Tools, and there you can see it is sitting right at the top edge of my browser window. So this is the way exbrowser behaves. Depending on where the element is positioned in relation to the other elements which are visible on the inside the browser window, exbrowser will either scroll that element to the bottom edge or the top edge. Now this would not be an issue if it wasn't for the overlays. Now in the first case, like right here, where there is no overlay in the bottom area of the YouTube page, when I issue an exbrowser click to the element, it comes up to the bottom edge, and because there is no overlay in the bottom area, exbrowser can see that element and therefore process the click command. But that changes when I'm positioned like this. In this situation, when I run the click command, right now the overlay is hidden, so we can see that element. Let me reload the page.
Hey guys.
And now when I run the click command, you see it gets hidden here. So that is the problem of overlays. So while you're automating a web page, you need to be aware of so many things, like where is is there an overlay on that page? Is it a bottom overlay or a header overlay, or is it something jutting out from the side here? So now that we have a good idea of what the problem is, I'm going to suggest a very simple solution in my next video, where you won't have to bother about if there is a overlay at the bottom or on the side. The only thing we need to concern ourselves with is if there is an overlay at the top area, or what is called a header overlay.